Just a quick reminder, we're going to be going quiet for the month of July here on The Daily, although we're still publishing all of our weekly shows, which you can find over at mjtodaypodcast.com, greenrushpodcast.net, and weedwonks.com. We'll be back here on The Daily with the news, feeling rested and refreshed in August. Have a good July and be safe. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Tuesday, June 30th, 2020, and you're tuned in to episode 958 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Yesterday in Colorado, Governor Jared Polis signed into law a bill that sets up, for the first time in the state, exactly what is needed to qualify as a social equity program applicant. We've covered this bill, introduced and pushed by Representative James Coleman a number of times in recent weeks, and even spoke to Representative Coleman from the floor of the Colorado State House as the final votes were being cast on our show Weed Wonks. The legislation, now made into law with Governor Polis's signature, reserves the social equity program to people who have lived in an economically depressed area for a certain amount of time, who have been arrested for cannabis crimes, or who have a direct relative who has, or for making below a certain income threshold. The bill was also amended in the Senate to include provisions allowing for the governor to issue direct pardons for marijuana charges. You can read about all the new groundbreaking law over at Marijuana Moments. As we always do, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com. Marijuana products company Dixie Brands is changing its name due to the direct association between the word Dixie and the loser Confederate Army, beaten into submission as traitors during the Civil War. The announced change comes as the former band the Dixie Chicks also said they will be dropping the word Dixie, being known simply as the Chicks. A spokesperson for the soon-to-be former Dixie Brands said the company would be selling out its remaining Dixie brand products before transitioning into a yet-to-be-decided-upon new brand. This is a good move that needs to be part of a larger reform effort that actually changes systemic racism, but still, a good move. Marijuana Moment is back with another moment, this time with Kyle Yeager picking up on the good news out of Oregon that activists have collected enough valid signatures of support to land a ballot measure in November's elections that asks people if they want to legalize psilocybin mushrooms for medical use. While the state has yet to officially validate the full collection of signatures, the Yes on IP34 campaign said their own independent review shows they ticked over the 112,020 signatures needed. Last week, the state did say the campaign had collected at least 106,908, so it's not a big jump from there to 112. If approved by voters and signed into law, the measure would make Oregon the first state in the U.S. to set up a regulated medical psilocybin program. This would be big news in that space for sure. If you have therapeutic psychedelics on your news radar, and you should if you don't, then I'd give this one a full read. Those are the top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz it in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, MJ Today Media, publishers of this podcast as well as our weekly shows, Marijuana Today, The Green Rush, and Weed Wonks. One of the things that we're looking to do here at MJ Today Media following our annual summer break is to amp up our business development efforts. So we're looking for someone who's great at sales and who wants to do some business. We have a large inventory of sponsorship space to sell, and we need someone to help do that. If you're really good at developing business and looking for a new opportunity, then you should get in touch with me via email at shay@mjtodaymedia.com, with Shay spelled S-H-E-A. We have a small budget to cover a base, and we'll give commission on top of that for all sales made. While this is not a full-time position right now, there is absolutely the opportunity for it to grow into that for the right candidate. I figured out how to make good podcast content. Now I just need someone to help me sell it. Again, if you think you are that person, email me, shay@mjtodaymedia.com. All right, time for the blitz. We have some numbers out of Arizona for how the state's medical marijuana program is faring. According to figures for May's medical cannabis sales in Arizona, more than 18,000 pounds of marijuana were sold in all, up 5.8% from March's totals and 31.1% from May of last year. April's figures dropped to 16,531 pounds as coronavirus closings set in. We may see a return to that as the number of coronavirus cases in Arizona is also on the rise, so a good storyline to keep an eye on. Terry Booth, CEO of Canadian marijuana giant Aurora Cannabis, has stepped down from the company he helped start back in 2006, following closely on the heels of the resignation of fellow co-founder Steve Dobler. Mr. Booth's resignation was just announced and was effective as of the 26th of June, so he is fully out as chief executive. Deborah Borchard over Green Market Report has a good take on this that includes a roundup of some of the cannabis company founders who have also exited the companies they've started in recent weeks. Give it a read. San Diego, California is creating a regulatory agency to oversee its legal cannabis industry. The city's new Cannabis Permitting Bureau will have a full-time staff of 9, an initial $1 million annual budget, and will handle both adult use and medical licensing and regulation. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds signed a bill into law yesterday that replaces a limit of 3% THC on all medical cannabis products with a new monthly cap for patients of 4.5 grams of THC per 90-day period, which is practically zero for patients needing THC. The bill makes a number of other small changes to Iowa's severely limited medical cannabis program. Open up CBS 2 Iowa if you want more on this. Maryland State Attorney Marilyn Mosby's office is moving to dismiss scores of cannabis-related criminal cases, along with arrest warrants for the same, as a response to the general clusterfuck of the coronavirus. 586 open warrants and cases were closed and dismissed in all by State Attorney Mosby and covered low-level charges like traffic offenses, prostitution, and drug possession. Multi-state cannabis operator Acreage Holdings just announced its first quarter fiscal results as it pulled in $24.2 million in revenue, up 88% from the same quarter last year and 15% sequentially. Acreage took a huge $196 million impairment charge, which led to a net loss of $172 million and a pro forma adjusted EBITDA loss of $11.1 million. New Cannabis Ventures has the full release here if you need it. And finally for today, we note the passing of respected scientist and researcher Dr. Lester Grinspoon, who died late last week at the age of 92. Dr. Grinspoon is best known in legal cannabis for his book, Marijuana Reconsidered, a title written in 1971 that was some of the first serious academic writing to treat marijuana seriously. It was one of the first books that I read when I first became interested in marijuana policy reform back in the late 90s. The world owes Dr. Lester Grinspoon a great deal and is a better place for his life and work. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again in August with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. And one last reminder before we go, we're taking our annual summer break and closing down production of The Daily Show for the month of July. We'll be back in August, ready to roar back into the news. Thanks to our sponsor, MJ Today Media, and to our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in and starting your day with Marijuana Today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.